I wanted to bring today's episode to the podcast talking about how to make a decision. Many of us can feel like they're stuck in limbo. There's so much information out there right now about what to do to improve your chances of pregnancy success if you have low AMH, high FSH, premature ovarian insufficiency, or diminished ovarian reserve. So you may feel overwhelmed. Maybe you feel stuck. You're not sure of your next steps. So today I'm going to talk about how to go ahead and make a decision and what you need to do to make that decision. So excited for you to listen. I would like to invite you and your partner to a Supercharge Your Fertility Discovery Call. This call is for you if you meet at least one of the following criteria. You've been trying to get pregnant for at least 2 years. You've been through at least one failed IUI or IVF. This call is for action takers. If you're not ready and you wait, the risk is you'll need to wait 2 to 3 months for a spot to open up. If you're seriously considering work with us, go to fabfertile.com. That's fabfertile.com and click on apply here. That's fabfertile, fabfertile.com and click on apply here. Then you'll be booked in and ready to spend 30 minutes to give you the action plan to getting pregnant naturally. One theme that keeps coming up with the couples in our Fab Fertile Couples Coaching Program is sleep. Whether it's insomnia, having a hard time falling asleep, waking up at night, or feeling tired when we wake up, sleep is critical for fertility and hormones. And that's why I'm so excited to have Blue Blocks as our podcast sponsor. So we're exposed to blue and green light from our phones, our tablets, our computers, indoor lights, and more. And this exposure impacts our melatonin production. And melatonin is essential for both female and male fertility. It helps determine the frequency and duration of our cycle and impacts sperm. There's lots of blue light blocking glasses on the market, but the ones from Blue Blocks, they've actually compared other popular brands, and Blue Blocks block 100% of blue and green light, while other brands fall short. So I have their sleep glasses. They have red lenses, and the ones I have are a little translucent frame, and they're so stylish and really cool. And so they eliminate 100% of the blue and green light in the 400 nanometer to 550 nanometer range. So this is exact range that has been shown in clinical studies to disrupt melatonin and negatively impact your sleep. So all you do is wear your sleep glasses after sunset until it's time for bed, and you'll notice improved sleep after just one use. And it's also cool to use when you're flying for managing jet lag. I got to say, I was a little skeptical about the noticing improvement after one use, but literally I use these glasses and my sleep is actually already pretty good. I used them for one day, and I have to say, after one day, I had the best sleep of my life. I just felt so rested. So these glasses, they ship free and they're tracked for all orders anywhere in the world. And also they have all their frames come in prescription, non-prescription, and reading glasses. Plus you can send in your frames and they'll add the blue light blocking and green light blocking lenses to your frame. So this is an easy hack that you can add to your fertility toolkit. All you do is go to BlueBlocks, BLUBLOX.com. Use the coupon code GetPregnantPodcast at checkout and receive a 15% discount. That's BlueBlocks, BLUBLOX.com, and use the coupon code GetPregnantPodcast to receive your 15% discount. Hey there. Thanks so much for listening to the Get Pregnant Naturally podcast. And I've got a favor to ask you. If you are enjoying learning about the functional approach to fertility, consider going to iTunes and rating and reviewing the podcast. This is how it helps the show reach more people that are struggling with infertility, knowing that there's another approach that really can get to the bottom of why it's not working in the first place. So all you need to do is, if you're on the app or the desktop, just go in and consider leaving a 5-star rating and leave a review. And there is step-by-step instructions in the show notes showing you exactly how to do that. So if you can just take a few minutes, just take the few minutes right now. You can pause this recording, come back, leave the review. It would really mean the world to me and help others that are on the fertility journey as well. Take care. I didn't need to go to donor eggs. Obviously, I don't regret it. I have beautiful children. I could have done things differently, restored. I was still cycling back in my 20s. I could have looked at my health, the environmental toxins, the stress I was under.
Many women are being told their eggs are too old. That's often merely an assumption that's not based on actual evidence. The reason being that there is no direct test of egg quality. You can't test egg quality.
It's the man who's got a food sensitivity or he has a zinc deficiency.
Like, there can be a root cause to these symptoms that are, quote unquote, period problems, that the doctor will pass you a pill without any question of why.
And some part of you knows that if you can reframe your journey from not one of struggle Or if it is struggle, learn how to embrace the struggle. Learn how to embrace it.
Most conditions in the child occur during the 9 months of development. It's the genetic switches are turned on or turned off, and they're pre-programmed. So you are in such a powerful, amazing position to do amazing things for your kids.
Why is IVF the first step? Because we believe it should be the last step. Welcome to Get Pregnant Naturally, where functional medicine and natural fertility solutions will help you get pregnant and have your baby. Hey there, I'm Sarah Clark, founder of Fab Fertile and your host. I believe the functional approach is the first step for anyone struggling with infertility, and my aim is to help you get pregnant naturally. Today, we're digging into how to make a decision so you can improve your chances of pregnancy success. This episode is for you if you're spending hours every week researching, but you are still feeling overwhelmed and not sure where to start to improve your chances of pregnancy success. You've already made a lot of changes, so you're feeling like IVF is your next best option. You've had a failed IVF and or tried to get pregnant naturally for 2 years, so you want to speed up your chances of pregnancy success. So learn more about our Fab Fertile method and how we help if you have low AMH, high FSH, premature ovarian insufficiency, or diminished ovarian reserve. Click on a link in the show notes or go to fabfertile.com. That's fabfertile.com. Thanks so much for listening. I'm so thankful that you're here. Make sure you hit subscribe. And if you know someone else who is on the fertility journey, please share this podcast with them. I wanted to bring this to the podcast. So I've had a number of calls recently with people who have told me that they want to get pregnant, they want to have a baby, and for whatever reason, they walk away and they don't take action. And they may decide to put it off until later. So please know that I don't care whether you buy from me or from someone else. But the reality is, unless you make a decision and decide to move forward, you're going to keep researching. I do have a love of research myself. Most of the couples we work with, when I ask them, how much research are you doing? Many of them, they typically either they're currently doing a lot of research, other like 4 to 5 hours a day. Some people are, or 4 to 5 hours a week, or they did a lot of research in the past and maybe now they've just kind of given up the research. But whatever it is, the research piece just kind of keeps us in that downward spiral and doesn't actually help us move forward. It can be help. Like I have a massive love of learning, obviously doing this podcast and researching topics and things like that on how to improve fertility naturally, we specialize with low AMH and high FSH and diminished ovarian reserve and premature ovarian insufficiency, helping couples getting pregnant naturally when they've typically been trying for 2 years at least, and or they've had at least one failed IVF or IUI. And then many times with those diagnoses, they may have had a poor response with IVF and being told that donor eggs are the only option. And we're helping people either get pregnant naturally after they've been told that, or if they do need to go to the clinic again, their results are way improved and they're achieving pregnancy success. So the reality is, until you make a decision to move forward, you just stay in limbo and nothing happens. So I wanted to tell you about the people that do decide to move forward and they're ready to take action and how quickly things start to change. So we have clients that book an initial call with me. We develop that customized plan. 2 weeks later, first of all, we start with our welcome call, and then we order all the test kits. So 2 weeks later, the test kits start to arrive. In the meantime, we also will have the couple meet with our functional nutrition practitioner and their coach. So they start to set some goals for themselves. The functional nutrition practitioner is doing a deep dive on their health history, reviewing, making impressions, and then making targeted diet and lifestyle changes. And so with that, you really start to feel empowered. Because a lot of the time when you're on this journey, I know what it was like. I was diagnosed with premature ovarian insufficiency at 28. I had both my kids with donor eggs. I didn't get a second opinion. I had no idea there was anything else I could have done to improve my chances at that point. Like, this is 20 years ago. My daughter's 20, my son's 17. Over 20 years ago, it was a grim chance that, anything would ever work. And we're helping couples with those diagnoses such as POI, so premature ovarian insufficiency, getting pregnant naturally, or if they do need to go to the clinic, getting pregnant with their own eggs. So there is hope. That's why I've really devoted my time in business to helping couples who, like me, who were told there was nothing you can do. I was fortunate enough that I had both my kids with donor eggs, but I believe if I had have, looked at my health back then, I would have been able to get pregnant naturally. I had, irregular cycles, and I had yeast infections and acne. I was put on the pill. And then I had a lot of health issues after that: bladder infections, sinus infections, chronic yeast infections, dandruff, toenail infections. I caught every cold and flu that went by me. So my immune system was compromised. So as I started to address food sensitivities, gut infections, chronic stress, all of that, my health, started to improve. I didn't discover this until years later. So if you're here right now and you have those diagnoses, like we talked about, the low AMH, the high FSH, the premature ovarian insufficiency, diminished ovarian reserve, there are things we can take in a targeted approach to really help improve your chances of pregnancy success. So clients that do take action, they have the initial call. 2 weeks later, the tests are ordered. They're really starting to take those targeted diet and lifestyle changes, which again helps them feel empowered. 4 to 6 weeks later, so we've got the test results, and we're looking at a number of tests, either from food sensitivity testing, or we're looking at stool testing, looking at the DNA of your stool. We're looking at genomic testing. So we're looking at female and male panels that really will then tell us exactly, as from a genetic standpoint, what is right for you as far as diet and lifestyle changes. And the genetic piece of it, which is different from what you've had at your fertility clinic. This is really looking at your female panel and a male panel to then, it helps for you to understand what's going on with you from a personalized standpoint with your genetics. And then also helps with adherence, because you're like, wait a minute, if I know that I have, an issue with caffeine, or I know that I have an issue, with methylating, and then you need to look at, specific B vitamins, we can then tailor that and really even more personalize this approach. After 4 to 6 weeks, we've got the tests developed. So then your functional nutrition practitioner will review those tests and then give you a targeted action plan. And typical protocol is about 3 to 4 months. And with that, there's going to be some supplements. We would then recommend that for you. We're also looking at your blood chemistry, not to diagnose, but to educate. And we're also looking at blood chemistry on a monthly basis too, really seeing, so we can start to see improvements, to see what's happening with your blood. So we're looking, you'll receive from your functional nutrition practitioner more of a personalized look at that, and she'll make recommendations for blood work for you. And also looking at your chart, your cycle as well. So looking at charting. And so we then just start to see trends and improvements, and then you can really feel empowered. Because a lot of times it's like, here's a diagnosis, it's only IVF. You've got to spend, an average cycle takes, is at a cost of $60,000 and can take up to 3 cycles for a successful IVF, which obviously is a huge financial and emotional investment. And then it hasn't even addressed all the underlying healing opportunities in our functional, our Fab Fertile method that we address. And really, again, it's very empowering to understand your health and what's right for your body. And many people do all these generalized recommendations, do heaps of research, and have made a lot of changes. Most people that come to see me it's not just they're just starting out. They've tried for at least 2 years, and they've had at least one failed IUI or IVF. So they have done a lot, and they may have felt that, that they already had their solution, that when they chose IVF, this was going to be it. And then we see people, poor responders, or it just hasn't worked, or they've had early miscarriage or loss, and so it's a lot of heartache and financial stress that they're going through, and no one's looked at the root cause. And talked a lot on this podcast of some of the themes and things that we see with couples that we focus on and that we work with, and from food sensitivity issues to thyroid imbalance to blood sugar imbalance. Many things going on from a biochemical standpoint, from the mental emotional stress. Like, there's people worry also that there'll be nothing to address. The weight, everything will come back normal, and we haven't had that. Otherwise, you'd be pregnant. So the body wants to survive; it doesn't want to procreate, and forcing it and pushing it with medication. Obviously, that works for some, but for the people that we work with, it hasn't worked. Hormones for you may be part of the equation. Maybe we need to, jumpstart something. We have, as part of our team, we work with a OBGYN, and she's triple board certified in obstetrics, gynecology, functional medicine, and menopause. She's a physician, but not your physician. So in our weekly team reviews, if necessary, we as a team, including the functional nutrition practitioners, may find that bioidentical hormones are right for you. But we would then, this is many times people are recommended hormones, and then no one addresses the other side of things, the diet and lifestyle changes, imbalances that need to be addressed. So let's just, wait a minute, let's just give the pill, and then not addressing the root cause. So that, with our Fab Fertile method, and really the foundation of this approach, is looking, what's been missed. What are the healing opportunities? People come to me and say, oh, by the way, I have an autoimmune disease. Well, that's a huge, huge clue. Like, you've got an autoimmune disease, we have got to dig deeper and look at the mind, body, spirit of what is out of balance with your body. Huge healing opportunities there. If you have, if you're feeling cranky or irritable, or you have those hangry things, is there a blood sugar issue that's being missed for you? Are you on thyroid medication? Have you been told that your TSH is normal, but no one's looked at a full panel, and you're experiencing miscarriage, or you're experiencing infertility? A huge amount of time we find people with thyroid imbalance. And so again, we're not diagnosing, we're educating, but it's really to looking at your health history as a team, looking at blood chemistry review, and then adding in the tests, and then looking at the biochemical side of things, but then also the mental emotional side of things. So after 4 to 6 weeks, we develop that protocol. You know what it's for, what we're addressing, how long it's for. I know, and I've received from practitioners before, bags of supplements. I had no idea what it was for. It just went on for months and months and months. I didn't know, when the end would be. And it didn't address the root cause of what was going on. It was just sort of like throwing a dart at a dartboard in the dark, where this is very targeted, and you'll know, and especially adding in the genetics piece of this too is really empowering. And so you can really start to get to the bottom of why you're struggling. And then 6 to 7 months later, you're either pregnant naturally, after having years of failed IUIs, IVFs, and more, or if you're not pregnant naturally, your health has been completely restored. And people that come to us, it's not a sick population. It's not, and I was the same way. I still would have said my health was good, even though, I was catching all these flus and colds, but I was still functioning, still doing my thing. And so it's not a sick population. Obviously, there are a number that may not be feeling their best if their sleep is off and other issues, but it's just not at optimal health. Because if you're at optimal health, you'd be pregnant. So what has been missed? And it's kind of putting that detective hat on, using the testing. And then, also sometimes we need to look at trauma, and especially with these diagnoses. There's a lot of stress in itself receiving the diagnosis, and what with a low AMH and high FSH and premature ovarian insufficiency, diminished ovarian reserve, and what happened before that diagnosis? Was there like a traumatic event happening in your life, be it whatever it may be for you, that then you were then diagnosed with this, with something else going on? Typically, usually we find something has happened beforehand where you're diagnosed, especially with an autoimmune disease. What happened before that? Oh, wait, you were stressed out in college. You had a big move. You had a loss of a parent or a friend. You were in a relationship that caused a lot of stress. Whatever it may be, there's usually something we find that kind of comes before that. Not always, but sometimes. So after 6 to 7 months, our program is 6 months. You have a very clear picture as to what's going on with your health, and really where you need to address things and what's been missed. And then you can, at that point, decide to continue to try naturally. We work on you with your, optimizing your cycle and really continuing to prepare your body for a baby. And this is, even though we are focusing on female factor fertility issues, like we said, low AMH and high FSH and DOR and POI, we are now, because with fertility, we're seeing 50-50. So we're also seeing issues with male factor. So even though his semen analysis, maybe it was fine, maybe it wasn't fine. And then we're doing the same approach with him, looking at his blood chemistry, reviewing the semen analysis through functional reference ranges, especially if there's been miscarriage in there as well. It's extremely important to look at both partners, to optimize both of your health, to improve the health of your pregnancy and postpartum period and child. And so if you are ready to make a decision, you really want to be pregnant by the end of 2021, now is the time to speak with me. All you need to do is, if you've been trying naturally for 2 years, or you've had at least one failed IUI or IVF, all you need to do is I offer a Supercharge Your Fertility Discovery Call. You can apply to that. This is for people that are seriously considering working with us. You go to fabfertile.com and click on apply here. Then we'll come up with an action plan that's specifically designed for you to help improve your fertility. So again, if you're seriously considering working with us, you can book that call at fabfertile.com. I would like to invite you and your partner to a Supercharge Your Fertility Discovery Call. This call is for you if you meet at least one of the following criteria. You've been trying to get pregnant for at least 2 years. You've been through at least one failed IUI or IVF. This call is for action takers. If you're not ready and you wait, the risk is you'll need to wait 2 to 3 months for a spot to open up. If you're seriously considering work with us, go to fabfertile.com. That's fabfertile.com and click on apply here. That's fabfertile.com and click on apply here. Then you'll be booked in and ready to spend 30 minutes to give you the action plan to getting pregnant naturally. Melatonin is important for female fertility. It helps regulate hormones and maintain the body's circadian rhythms. Plus, it helps determine the frequency and duration of the menstrual cycle. Plus, it impacts sperm count and motility. Blue and green light negatively impact our melatonin production. That's why we recommend Blue Blocks, blue and green light sleep glasses to all our one-to-one clients. Simply go to Blue Blocks, BLUBLOX.com and use the coupon code GetPregnantPodcast at checkout to receive your 15% discount. That's Blue Blocks, BLUBLOX.com and use the coupon code GetPregnantPodcast. The Get Pregnant Naturally podcast, including show notes and links, provides information with respect to healthy living, nutrition, lab testing, and is intended for informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor is it to be construed as such. We cannot guarantee that the information provided on the Get Pregnant Naturally podcast reflects the most up-to-date medical research. Information is provided without representation or warranties of any kind. Please consult a qualified physician for medical advice and always seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding your health and nutrition program.